But since we're like talking about the future or the potential future of the CW, I hate saying this, but we have to now talk about its past. Um, I know some fans were like, I hope during upfronts they will address the cancellations. And they addressed the cancellations. I don't know if it's in the manner that fans hoped for, but some answers were given. So I am just going to read a few quotes, y'all, from Mark Pedowitz. So here we go. Now, he said the cancellations were based on some difficult financial and strategic decisions that needed to be made at every level. And despite some rumors out there, it wasn't a content issue. So, as an aside, I will say everybody who was laughing it up online talking about it being about the quality of the shows, especially when they were talking about Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman, y'all were incorrect. And we told y'all you were incorrect. You can stay wrong in your wrongness. Um, he also said that the reason why much of this news wasn't made clear at first, like as we were rolling towards the finales, is because they didn't know 100% what would happen. So they were trying to encourage all of the producers to treat their finales as if it was going to be a series finale, because they want to do the right thing by the show and the fans. But Mark Pedowitz also said that ultimately the producers were the stewards of their own creative vision, which means that if your show ended on a cliffhanger, that was not on the CW, but on the writers and the producers. So I feel really, really bad for the fans attached to the shows who didn't get a proper send off and goodbye for their show because uh, a game of chicken was played and they lost.
I think what these quotes reveal, while they may not be what we wanted to hear, they were certainly kind of what I was expecting to hear. He didn't try to make excuses, and it did kind of shed light on the fact that there are some pretty huge things going on behind the scenes that we really don't know, we're not in control of. And it's just a really weird time for not only the network, but also the two former majority owners, Warner Brothers and CBS, who are providing the bulk, half and half of the content on the network. Those studios are also going through changes. So it's just like a lot of things that are out of the hands of the network. And it doesn't make it any easier to hear these explanations, but it's still just kind of like, oh, okay. And I know for a lot of fans, it's not going to be like the period at the end of that sentence. But I think for me, I'm just going to have to be like, okay, here we go, moving forward.
I can understand fans' anger over it, and I can understand why there's such confusion over it. To take the two examples, and I'm not just using them because they're my favourites, but Batwoman, for example, I hate that it's ended, but from a content and a storyline perspective, I'm happy with how it ended in that it wrapped up season 3 and they had that moment like, let's not bother celebrating, the city never sleeps, there's work to be done. And Batwoman had that triumphant walk to the Batcave. And then they had the little teaser at the end that could have set up a 4th season, should it have been picked up, but it never really impacted the end of the previous story. So that felt like it got the wrap up it needed. That just felt like that's how any Batman, Batwoman, Bat family member project should end. A nice conclusion, but with a teaser for more. Legends of Tomorrow, for example, on the other hand, had 7 seasons worth of character development done, and it ended on probably the biggest cliffhanger in the show's history. Where do you go from that? You know what I mean? That's that example of playing chicken and losing. It just feels like, what was the point in getting invested for 7 years? So I do understand why the fans are so upset. I'm personally very upset as well. It doesn't make sense to cancel a show that old without any wrap up.
Yeah, and the fact is they did want to wrap it up. I mean, Mark Pedowitz said that they would have kept them. They would have final seasoned them the way that you're supposed to. It was just out of their hands. And if you've read the Hollywood Reporter article, you know for some of the Warner Brothers shows, it was due to not wanting to pay a lease for the studio, like for the lot. And again, that is out of everybody else's control. Like that means like you guys did so great with your campaigns, which is unfortunate, like that they couldn't have made some of this news clear because it it was not about views. It was not about ratings. It was about financial decisions moving forward as Warner Brothers cuts its budget thanks to this merger.
Yeah, I just feel like an awful lot of it was even out of the CW's hands, because we do know that those shows in particular were going to get another season, and that would have made total sense. So if anything, it gives me the clarity and the happiness that you can, when someone says the CW didn't like those shows, or that the CW cancelled them from a content perspective because they weren't very good. We know that's not true. The network wanted to bring them back for another season. It's just kind of gotten to think that it was out of their control, even though they still had faith in them.